David Ivry, who years later would go on to become the IAF commander. We sat in our planes after the first pair took off in pursuit of a pair of MiGs sent by the Egyptians as a diversion. These MiGs flew south along the border near Mitzpe Ramon, while two other MiGs took off for a photography mission over the Dimona reactor. We were on standby, ready for immediate takeoff, when suddenly we heard the order in our earpieces. "Launch! Pair of chicks at 50,000 feet, Mach 1.8. In an instant, I'm in the air right behind Ivry, who is armed with a French-made R-530 Diamond missile and a Chaffrier-1 missile that homes in on engine heat and was developed by Raphael. I had just one missile, a Diamond. After a few seconds, we jettisoned the drop tanks and started climbing. The Mirage accelerated to Mach 0.9, full afterburner, and climbed to 36,000 feet. I spotted the MiG's white contrails, produced when some of the water in the jet fuel is emitted as the fuel burns and turns to vapor. The pair of Egyptian chicks were flying toward Dimona. As the drag on his plane was greater due to the two missiles it was carrying, David Ivry stayed a little behind, and I became the lead interceptor. In a flash, I analyzed my situation and quickly calculated that I'd be able to catch them on their way out when they headed back toward the border. I accelerated to Mach 1.2, 1.3, and climbed full burner to 48,000 feet. Squeezing every drop of power out of the plane, I accelerated to 1.8 and climbed to 50,000 feet. I had my eye on them, and the Egyptian pair was totally oblivious of my presence. The two MiGs were trying to speed back over the border after completing their photography mission, and I came up behind them and locked my missile radar on the rear MiG. On the instrument panel in the cockpit, a blue light came on, indicating the missile radar had picked up the target. The missile made a beeping sound, a signal that it was ready for launch. Everything was ready, but rather than just press the button, I said over the radio to the controller back in the control tower, "Missile locked on target," and requested permission to fire from my leader and more senior pilot, David Ivry. Before Ivry could answer me, I heard the controller's voice, "Negative, do not fire." Hardly believing my ears, I again addressed Ivry, who by now was below me. "Request permission to fire." The controller again intervened. "Negative, do not fire." Now Ivry also ordered me not to fire. The frustration I felt is hard to describe. I continued flying behind the Egyptian MiGs, which still hadn't noticed me. Such a clear target, but the controller's order was even clearer: "Do not fire." I didn't know the reason why, but since I requested permission and was turned down, there's nothing I could do about it. A pilot with the rank of lieutenant does not disobey the controller and the order of a lead pilot. The two Egyptian MiGs kept on flying west, unaware they had just been saved by that controller. Over Nitzana, they crossed into Sinai. I came out of burner, slowed my speed, turned right, and began gliding toward the runway at Chatzor. Ivry landed ahead of me. I was seething, but I didn't say a word. I had a score to settle with the controller who stopped me, and I was waiting for the debriefing at Kiryat headquarters in the afternoon. When I entered the briefing room, an officer was waiting for me with a bottle of champagne. "I'm sorry," he said. It was the controller. I was still furious. "How could you do that to me? I was locked on him. Why did you stop the launch?" The controller explained the mistake. I thought it was the first pair reporting, the pair that went after the